Welcome to another lesson learned episode of Not Your Average Lives. Today, I decided that I would take a piece of a training I did this past week because it resonated with my audience and it was a download. It was something that came into my head, into my brain after I thought about the topic that I wanted to train on, teach, share in my Ignite Your Second Half Soul free training series. And it was some new stuff that I hadn't trained on before. And so I was excited to deliver it. But it's just an example. And I learned this lesson that about downloads, because I talk about downloads. I talk about how we get these downloads, and these downloads are really from not our logic brain. They're from somewhere beyond ourselves, more our higher selves. It's really some kind of a nudge from the universe to take some action or do something. And it can lead, I mean, these actually are meant to guide us. They're meant to guide us on the path we're meant to walk. And often they're like, what was that? And so I talk about those a lot in my training, and the share ones that I have had that I've actually followed, and some that I've suppressed, and some that took a while before I finally paid attention, and they literally changed my life, turned my life upside down. But there's these nudges as well that you're meant to get to share. There are messages that you are meant to share for whatever reason. And so it's, and I think somebody like me who has her mission in life now is to coach and to teach. When I get nudges, they help me, but they're also meant for me to help others with. So I always want you to think about nudges, and like when they come, how, first of all, they're meant to guide you, how they're meant to help you to discover something that is undiscovered, but also how is it meant for you once you think about it, reflect on it, whatever that download was. Is there some way that needs to be shared? Is there some reason you got that to share it to a broader audience, even if it's a small group, just your friends, for instance, and have a good conversation on, oh, I got this crazy download. Downloads make for great discussion. So I took the snippet of this 1 hour training, which was only like 7 or 8 minutes. So it's just it's one page of my training, but I loved it. I loved it. When you get something and you get excited about it, when you get a download, so there's a couple of ways downloads come in. Either come in and you're like, what the hell was that? And that is crazy. Or it's like, oh my gosh, that is like, it's like an aha moment. It's like, yes. So when I had this, it was just like, oh my God, yes, I need to capture this. It was sent for me to be a vessel. I believe that it was sent for me somewhere from the universe, God, wherever it was sent from. Thank you very much. But it was meant for me to shape into some sort of a lesson. And so if you don't know by now, I love alliteration. And so what came to me was that, and oh, I should probably talk about the topic. The topic was that I talk about in the Ignite Your Second Half Soul training about there's three main things that are, three main soul suckers. And so this was the third soul sucker, and it was our fears and worries. And so it was training all about our fears and worries, where they come from, how you can address them, how you can minimize them. So we talked a lot about that. And this download came in the form of the people who worry and what happens when they worry. And so I'm not going to give anything away, but it's the D's that are devouring us, the D's that are devouring us. And so there's 3 D's. And I think I listened to it, and I think you can, there is a slide that goes with it. I don't know if I can put that in my show notes. I don't think I can. I can probably link to a photo. So that's what I'll do. I'll link to a PDF that shows you the picture of it. but it's a very simple picture. It's very uh, simple graphic because I'm not a graphical artist and I created it myself. So it's a very simple graphic, and you could probably follow along on the audio without looking at the photo. But I like visuals, so I'll share that visual with you. But there's the 3 Ds that keep us stuck, and then there's the 3 Ls that we can lean on and that can help us. And it starts with awareness. And so I love the D's and the L's. And so I thought I would create an episode about the lesson that I got about how a download can make a difference. And if you're getting downloads, they can not only make a difference in your life, but they can make a difference in other people's lives. So I hope you like this lesson. If you're a worrier, definitely need to listen. So I want to share this because we talk about downloads, right? When you sit in silence, you get these things that come up and you're like, oh my gosh, that is great. Where'd that come from? And, with me, because what I do, a lot of times it has to do with like teaching and what I can train and do. So I call this, and it's my download, right? It's my download. I had this idea and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to include this in this training. It's the D's. The D's. You want to see the D's? And somebody used one of the D's already earlier in the comments. I'm so excited. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this slide's for you. Do you offer this class for men? No, it's funny. Anybody can take this class. It can be for people who are under 50. It can be for people who are men, but I work with women because I like the power of being with a bunch of women. And when you add, different sexes to the mix, then I think it changes the dynamic. So, I can't relate to a man really. I need to teach my husband how to do this so he can have a class for men. But what I do is I let the women I teach, they go and teach their men. So it's like the ripple effect affects the men. All right. And I would say men are less likely. Men are, my husband would never take a class like this. So that's probably being judgmental, but just my thoughts and thinking about my husband. All right. So these are the D's that are I can't even say the word, devouring your life. I love to play with words, by the way. Dwell, disregard, and dread. So somebody used dread earlier. So these 3 words, when it comes to worry, are devouring our life. This is directed at the worriers, but I really want you to listen to this too. What do you think? These are in 3 columns for a reason. What do you think these people, these D's have in common? I know it's hard to guess, but I'll go ahead and reveal. When you worry, when you're a worrier, you're either dwelling on the past and you're always disregarding the present, and you dread the future. This is what worriers do. They dwell, they disregard, and they dread. So they never sit in the present, and they have trouble, I would say, with abundance. They are very much in a lack mindset. I have a whole course on abundance. So, but I'm not teaching that here. But it's, when I thought of this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. I got this amazing download from my higher self that said, people need to hear this because this is so true. And the antidote, so I will not give you anything without the antidote. With what you need to do if you're a worrier is you need to treat your past as a lesson, a life lesson. It's never wasted. It's never meant to be for regret. Your past was delivered to you
and you lived it for a reason, and it has value, whether you can see it or not. What you should do is make a priority of learning or of investigating, make a priority of investigating what it was supposed to teach you if you don't know. But you need to learn from it and let it go, because it is gone. It is not fixable. It is, if you think it needs to be fixed. I don't think it needs to be fixed, but yeah, you just need to let it go and move on, because it's not helping. It's hurting you. And remember all the physical things that could happen when you spend your time in dwelling and dreading. And what you need to do for the present is stop disregarding it. You need to start paying attention to it. You need to start sitting in the silence and listening for the signs that are being sent to you. Because when you're disregarding the present, you're totally missing the signs. Because the signs don't come from the past or the future. The signs only come from the present moment. And so we're completely like oblivious to them. And what happens with the future when you dread it, what you need to do is, because we're in that space of worst case scenario is what that is. Worst case scenario, oh my God, I'm going to die of COVID. You know, a lot of people were in that space, right? So that's probably would be a good exercise to put on a sheet of paper. But you want to look forward to the rest of your life and the lit up places it will lead. You have to believe that your life will, when you switch your brain and really work on your pets and you dig into those beliefs and understand where they come from, it's like this nirvana place, honestly. And when you have this positive energy, when you create this belief system inside of you that you have unlimited potential, the future is yours to create and to unfold. And when you can look forward to that instead of dreading it, it will lead you to lit up places. So the D's will devour you, but the L's will save you. So yes, the L's will lead you to where you need to go. So that is my download. And it's so true. It's so true about the worrisome. So we don't want to dwell, and we don't want to disregard, and we don't want to dread. We want to learn, listen, and look forward.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraveragegrandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own Not Your Average life.